Democrats, they're finally getting some power back. And what do? They start a civil war in their own party. Democratic lawmakers are split on whether to vote on a measure denouncing anti-Semitism after freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was accused of using anti-Semitic tropes. Her supporters say it's an unnecessary resolution that unfairly targets Omar herself. But her detractors say the rise of anti-Semitism cannot be tolerated in any form. Okay, so do we need a resolution that says that? Isn't it a given at this point? And why are they fighting with each other when there are so many other things to worry about right now?
That's a good question.
And are they throwing the thing over to Trump in 2020? It's very annoying and scary. And I don't like it.
It's sad that we even need a resolution for this. And frankly, a bad look that we can't even get something like that passed. I'm not going to get into the details. Meghan, I know you know far more about this than I do. But I personally feel for Nancy Pelosi because I think she's in a position similar. It reminds me to John Boehner. Remember when the Tea Party came in? And she cares, I think, about the future of the Democratic Party. Of course she does. And she's savvy enough to know that some of these more extreme voices in her party rightfully won their election, but the things that they say are so out of step with the majority of where the country is. So how do you balance that, but make sure that the party doesn't lose their soul and connect with the American people and are successful in 2020? Nancy Pelosi, I don't envy her right now, but she's in a place where she's going to have to try and wrangle them. But also, don't tweet publicly. Why not get behind closed doors?
Why, is Nancy tweeting?
I feel like the Democrats are all tweeting out their frustrations
that's
publicly.
Ilhan Omar's thing, is that she tweets all the time like Trump. And that's a mistake.
And AOC?
Yeah, she does
But
too.
why not handle it behind closed doors?
I think there's tweeting on both sides, right?
Yeah.
This issue is a really intense one for me, and just bear with me because I know, Sonny, you and I in particular don't always agree on this. And I want to say first and foremost, anti-Semitism shouldn't be a left or right issue. I don't think we should be politicizing it on either side because, as we know, if it's a tiki torch person in Charlottesville saying Jews will not replace us, or if it's we had Barry Weiss on to talk about sort of these more dog whistle moments that, in my view, Ilhan Omar is doing. And she, as of Saturday, hadn't been able to have gone 15 days without saying something anti-Semitic. What's interesting about this is that she is an up-and-coming rising star in the Democratic Party. She's on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine right now. She fits a lot of boxes that Democrats like. She is the first Somali elected member of Congress. She's the first woman, first of two Muslim women elected to Congress, and she's the first minority woman to serve from Minnesota. And the problem is right now is there's pressure to support her within the Democratic Party because identity politics and intersectionality is something that is important to Democrats. And I think at this specific moment, this is a watershed moment for Democrats. A lot of Jewish people in this country, I think, are being asked, with the rise of anti-Semitism in this country, is it more important to defend party politics or is it more important to defend anti-Semitism? And we can have conversations all day long about how you feel about Israeli politics. Yes, excuse me, if you object to it. We can have a conversation all day long about how you feel about Palestinian politics, how you feel about Israeli politics, how you feel about Netanyahu. But in the same way that I fear what's happening with Corbyn in the UK, I fear that it's seeping its way over here in the United States. And I just present this question, which may be an uncomfortable one. If what Ilhan Omar has been saying for the past few weeks were said by a white Republican male, how would you be reacting to it right now?
I mean, for me,
I object to it no matter who says it.
I'm asking the proverbial question.
The other thing why are they always concentrating on Israel is what I want to know. There's a little tiny place apart in the world. I mean, she's from Mogadishu. Does she object to things they do there? I'm assuming she does. And Yemen and Libya and Syria and all the hot spots all over the world. And yet this seems to be the focus of a lot of people around the world, including the UK and here. Israel. And why that particular country? It's very suspicious to me.
Can I say that I 100% agree with you on that? And I think that we should be talking about human rights violations globally everywhere. In Iran, gay people can be thrown off of buildings for simply being gay. Women can't wear tank tops in the street without being stoned. There are human rights violations going around globally. And I agree with you. My question to Ilhan Omar is, why specifically this area of the world? Why specifically this group of people? And just putting a button on this, because I know you've let me filibuster. She is on a committee, a foreign relations committee, that will be in charge of of what happens globally with our diplomacy. I'm uncomfortable with that in the same way that I was uncomfortable with Steve King being on that
Well,
as
to your question, Joy,
Yeah.
I think we should talk about the comment that she made that has spurned all of this discussion, right?
There are many comments.
There are many
though.
comments, but the comment that she made that we're talking about, that the resolution has come from, she said, so for me, because she has apologized for the other comments, for two of the
Because,
comments.
well, she also had a lot of pressure to apologize.
But she did apologize. So the comment she said was, so for me, I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it is okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country. And I want to ask, why is it okay for me to talk about the influence of the NRA, of fossil fuel industries, or big pharma, and not talk about a powerful lobby that is influencing policy? That's what she said. And people say that that is anti-Semitic. When
Can I just
we
say
had
really
Barry,
quick?
no, let me just finish. When we had Barry Weiss on as an expert in what is anti-Semitic and what isn't, I asked her, is it okay to talk about Israel's policies and not be called anti-Semitic?
And she said
and
yes.
she said yes. She said where it crosses the line is when you say that Israel does not have the right to exist. That is when it crosses the line. Now,
She's
Omar
not
has
saying
never
that.
suggested
No.
that Israel does not have the right
But
to
can I
exist.
say what she has
So,
said?
to
Yeah,
me,
give us a minute. Let her
it seems to me that Republicans are trying to use this as a wedge issue.
I'm really not.
And I think that...
Not you. She's not talking about you.
You know, this
talking
selective
about the
outrage
party.
is kind of crazy because I don't think that the Republicans have moral high ground here.
But it seems like Democrats
I think
are upset
that
too,
Kevin
though.
McCarthy has
just
used
Republicans.
these anti-Semitic tropes. I think that Jim Jordan just recently,
And I
tweeted
call that
this
out.
against Tom Steyer.
and
Right.
remember that Ilhan Omar in the West Virginia Republican Party just had this huge poster superimposed with her face with 9/11 terrorists. And I haven't heard any outrage about that coming from the Republican Party. So, and all that to say is that this selective outrage, and I will tell you, I take this very personally as a woman of color who has been the subject of so much bigotry. And what a lot of people don't know is that my grandfather is Jewish. He is a Sephardic Jew. And so I have, my family members have received a lot of bigotry. So, I've experienced firsthand in my family anti-Semitism and bigotry for being black. And so I just, this whole, thing,
Sonny,
I think it's just a
Could I
distraction.
let her
quite
answer?
frankly.
Are you comfortable with me speaking now? Are we comfortable with me rebutting now?
Yes.
Okay. So she also said Israel has hypnotized the world, suggested that Jews in Israel have bought U.S. politicians all about the Benjamins, implied that American Jews have divided loyalties, and it's okay for people to push allegiance to a foreign country. I again say, why this obsession with Jerusalem and Israel? Why this obsession with this specific area of the country? And as you've said many times, these are dog whistle comments for Jewish Americans.
Yes,
they are.
we
and
agree.
they hear what she's saying. And
she had to apologize for that.
But you
She
have
should
to
have.
admit, you have to
One
admit,
moment.
Meghan, that it is disingenuous of the Republican Party to go after her. This is her point when they are backing a president who is in bed with dictators committing human rights violations
really
all
And
over
who
the
traffics
world.
in bigotry. Who traffics in bigotry.
Let's go there at
So
least.
just really quickly, since we're talking about I take this very personally. I would go so far as to say I probably verge on being a Zionist as well. But I will say that I don't have family that is Jewish, but Joe Lieberman and Hadassah Lieberman are my family.
Yeah.
And I take the hate crimes rising in this country incredibly seriously, and I think what's happening in Europe is really scary. And I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional,
right.
but
You're right.
the idea that this is politicized, I'm really not. I was very nervous to talk about this on the show because I thought it would become politicized, and it really shouldn't be. On both sides, it should be called out.
Right.
And just because I don't technically have Jewish family that are blood related to me, it doesn't mean I don't take this as seriously, and it is very dangerous. Very dangerous. And I think we all collectively as Americans on both sides, and what Ilhan Omar is saying is very scary to me, and it's very scary to a lot of people, and I don't think you have to be Jewish to recognize
You don't.
that.
And
You don't
I
have
just
to be
hope
Jewish.
instead of a resolution
To love Levy,
just from the
Leslie.
Democrats, I'm tired of the selective outrage, and I
I'm
hope
not
that we have a
having
joint
selective
resolution
outrage.
perhaps from Republicans
Okay.
and from the Democrats. I would be in favor of a